Well, Arnaud, so we are talking about Impact AI. What is Impact AI?
Well, Impact AI is a think tank dealing with AI. Another one, perhaps in a quite a dense landscape, because everyone wants to think about AI today. Well, why did we create that new think tank? It's well, because it's more a do tank than a think tank, and basically all the founders are AI makers or daily AI users, and we just seen that there is a real necessity when we make or use AI every day to deal with the ethical issue of the AI and to help people who, well, now most of the people who don't deal with AI every day have difficulty to really understand and use AI, and so they just start with the technical part of the AI and not with the ethical parts. And as we've seen with Facebook or just before the talk just before, the ethical part of the AI can be a massive issue for all the system we deploy and we make.
Indeed. Yeah, actually, the ethics in AI are very important. It is a rising subject, clearly. We see that because in the news, people want to know about that. When we talk about AI, let's talk about ethics. And maybe it is more important in France, in Europe, because we can see that in some of the continent it could be different because it's different perspectives. But yeah, actually ethics is very important. So what is the main goal of Impact AI?
Our goal is to help people to handle that ethics part of the AI. It goes from releasing tools, but we go to that just after. From that to talk with the government, to explain the government that they're real subject about that and how to handle those subjects. Perhaps we can go through, and because you're there.
Yeah, indeed. Actually, it's gathering lots of actors in AI in France, large companies, non-profit organizations, startups, and so on. The idea is to be as inclusive as possible and to have a large number of structures and people supporting the initiative, right?
Yes, and well, we are quite young because we were born in June, so a few months before. We have a legal existence since 1 week or 2 weeks.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, and but we already released some documents, some deliverable, some tools, and as I said, we want to be really practical and have a real impact. And the way we choose to do so, we divided our action in 3 main topics. First, to explain. Second, to make, and then to use. So the explanation part is perhaps more your part, Damien. The observatory and the communications around that.
Yeah. Actually, the Impact AI is about think tank, but also do tank, and it's about creating white papers about ethics and AI, about trust and AI, to enlighten the subject and to make people aware of the impact of that.
As we do in startups, we first start by asking our users what they want and what they focus on. So we just start an observatory, a statistical observatory, based on pooling sessions or pooling techniques, because we all hear about fears around AI and stuff like that. So is it a real feeling that we can capture from those pooling observatory? It seems that it's not just about fears and...
Yeah, indeed. And maybe some information about the AI for Good topic, because the idea of Impact AI is to support projects, of course projects with AI, but projects that can have for good dimension, projects that can change something in the society or for environment, education, and so on. Maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So that the make part of the work groups, the AI for Good and Responsible AI. AI for Good, the goal is to help some associations.
Yeah, but also startups
Yeah.
and projects.
Yes, who have a non-profit organization. That's what the word.
Yeah, indeed.
And to help them by giving them some support, ask our members to dedicate developers, for instance, to those startups to help them to build AI. We also try to collect some private data, not private in regarding privacy, but corporate data, because sometimes you can have a non-profit organization or startup that wants to help the world about social stuff, and they don't have enough data to work on, so we can help them to find more data. The responsible AI is really work group is really important too, because the ethic part of the AI, you can just say be trustful, the AI will be good and won't have any bias. The only way to do that is us as a maker of AI to be sure that the AI we build have no bias, that we have enough tools to check that, and we have the good mindset to deal with that risk. So that group is raising tools, technical tools, and governance tools to handle that issue. And perhaps regarding the use part, the education and the ecosystem, we try to help the people who are going to use AI in the future, for instance, education, and the ecosystem who don't have an easy approach of AI to explain.
It's about democratizing AI, right? For the young people, but because it's all for young people, but also people who are not well known with AI. And what is the last part?
The last part, well, that's about education and ecosystem. Perhaps, we need to have the entire ecosystem really engage into that kind of issues, because ethics is really key to develop an efficient AI.
Okay. And so what are the next steps of the conclusion?
Well, every work groups, they just start, so they need to have more and more contributors. Regarding the observatory, we are going to release the conclusion of that in 3 or 4 months.
Yes, indeed.
So it's going to be a big input for us and all the other topics are going to be feed with that results. Regarding the AI for Good, we are going to launch the
Call
for project. Thank you. Should be in the beginning of 2019.
Okay. Wow.
So next year. We are still discussing about the good way to do that, because we definitely need to have people from the startups and from the non-profit organization. We need them to engage all the company developers to help them on the project, but we can't ask 100 of startups to come and to pitch because we won't have enough resources. So we have to make something fair and with a good trade-off between what we can offer and what people can ask. Regarding the responsible AI, we are for the moment we make a kind of list of what can be used to unbiased datasets and to fix a good parameter of what a data scientist can do or not, what a CEO can ask his board about AI or not. And regarding education, it's something we work on with Microsoft, because Microsoft was at the beginning of the initiative, because they had already a plan to train more than 10,000 of people.
These subjects.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. So thank you for these interesting precisions. So Impact AI is a new initiative aiming to talk about ethics and AI for good. So it's very, very interesting. Thank you very much, Arnaud.
And just if you want to join us, you can send a mail. We started to work on on papers and stuff like that, but we don't have a website for the moment. So you can mail Roxana in the beginning of the slides if you want to join us.
Thank you very much.